Hello, friends, and thanks for tuning into Taste Radio, the #1 podcast for anyone building a business in food or beverage. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of Taste Radio, and I'm with my co-hosts for this episode, John Craven, Jackie Bruglera, and Mike Schneider. In this episode, we revisit 3 interviews from Taste Radio's Miami meetup, including those with Steven Santangelo, the founder of Matriarch Wealth Management, Ken Sadowski, the senior advisor with Verlinvest, and of course, Chris Hunter, the co-founder of Koya and Four Loko.
I have a Miami-themed tasting, too.
Oh, good. What's it, a beverage?
It is.
Oh, my
You'll find out in a bit.
Okay. I was just noticing, I was watching back some of my Instagram reels, and I tend to really get into it when I'm talking to people, or at least for the introduction. And I just realized I was doing that same thing when I was introducing this episode, where I'm really getting my body into it. It's kind of weird. I got to stop doing that.
Yeah, you're warming up.
Would you stop being yourself?
Yeah, keep doing it. People love it.
It's your signature move.
It's my signature move.
A little shimmy.
We love you just the way you are.
I just don't want people to think I'm seizing up every time I introduce the show.
You're
so.
fine.
Just
You're good.
animated.
You're fine.
Nobody's
You're just excited.
Well, no one was going to notice, but now you mentioned it, and we'll all
Yeah,
notice.
now
Okay.
I can't unsee
It's
it.
fine.
And now people are someone's going to make a reel of all the times you've been.
You know, the one time I don't do it, and I'm sure this is the case because I've seen these episodes. I watch them back. You watch yourself.
After All Night Bender?
Yeah, watch yourself just so you make sure you're not making a complete ass out of yourself every single time you're on TV or on video. It was on Elevator Talk. I don't throw myself into it on Elevator Talk, and I talked about this last week. I just want to point out Elevator Talk is now available on audio form or in audio form in the Taste Radio feed, which means every new episode of Elevator Talk will be included in your feed if you're a subscriber of Taste Radio. So this is outstanding content. You get to hear about a whole bunch of early stage, new and disruptive brands from food and beverage. A lot of the hot, new and exciting brands of today have appeared in past episodes of Elevator Talk. So if you want to hear about them first, check out Elevator Talk either on video. You can check it out on BevNET.com or Taste Radio, and of course on the Taste Radio feed via audio format.
And I'm sure there are brands in the audience right now that are wondering, how do I get on Elevator Talk? Well, you go to tasteradio.com/elevator talk.
No dash, just Elevator Talk. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes people think it's Elevator dash Talk. Yeah.
It's no dash.
No
just
dash.
Elevator Talk.
But it's not one word. People say it's that's Elevator Talk, one word. It's not really one word. It's just 2 words. Yeah.
It doesn't
2 words,
matter.
no space. Yes.
No dash.
Yeah.
Elevator Talk.
I don't think the folks from Poppi were on Elevator Talk. I can't recall. Maybe they. No.
Don't think Elevator
No.
Yeah,
Talk
it didn't
wasn't
exist
existed
around.
back then.
I don't think.
Wasn't around back then.
No. But they did appear on stage at BevNet Live, winter 2016.
And why do we care about Poppi?
Why do we care
You got
about
to give the
Poppi?
listener context because they
Yeah.
probably don't know.
They have no idea what's going on.
Nobody does.
They
It's
have
not-
no reason to
I mean,
care
if
about Poppi.
you open LinkedIn, it's not every other post.
They didn't
on
have
there
a
right
Super Bowl ad or anything.
now. or a big deal.
They got a big deal. It did happen. Everybody's been hearing about this stuff. The big rumor at Expo West that we were going to talk about last week, but then I was muzzled.
You were muzzled.
So I couldn't talk
We
about it.
muzzled you.
But it finally happened. PepsiCo announced on Monday that it entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Poppi for, stop, Mike. That's why I'm so distracted.
Come on, Ray.
$1.95 billion with a B, yes.
Minus $300 million for a net of $1.65 billion.
Correct. The deal includes
Kind of a weird way to announce it, but hey, it's
$300
weird.
million of anticipated cash tax benefits, bringing the net purchase price to $1.65 billion, according to a press release. And this is according to the story on BevNET.com, penned by our very own Brad Avery. Well done, Brad. And
In this
course,
case, it's pronounced B-Rad.
of course, incredible congratulations to the Poppi team, Allison and Stephen Ellsworth, the founders. As I mentioned, they started out in 2016. They were on stage when the brand was called Mother Beverage, and they triumphed in our New Beverage Showdown competition that year. They rebranded to Poppi, some might say reinvented, Mother Beverage into Poppi, which, as everyone knows, is a better-for-you soda made with prebiotic benefits. Can I say that? Or prebiotic?
Sure,
What would
yeah.
you call it? Prebiotics. Just call it prebiotics.
I mean, there's still some question as to whether those are efficacious, but
Correct,
yes.
correct. But Poppi's everywhere. It's been everywhere. It is a incredible machine, and in essentially less than 5 years, they've gone from 0 to
500 million.
500 million in sales, but $1.65 billion in acquisition price. Amazing. So obviously a lot to talk about as it relates to this deal. And I want to touch on something that Mike just said. And I consistently question this. And there are others who say, no, the functional benefits matter incredibly to the end consumer. Certainly the folks from Olipop would say this is the case. But do the gut health benefits of Poppi and better for you soda in general actually matter? And what percentage of the deal, John Craven, do you think could be attributed to the functional benefits versus, say, the branding in the execution?
I mean, Ray, first of all, never saw this deal coming.
Oh, here it is. I was waiting for it. He said it, and then I called him out, and it actually happened. Oh my gosh.
I was gonna finish the
Oh,
sentence.
the humble pie all over my face.
I was gonna finish the
Can
sentence.
we smash a pie in your face?
Oh, goodness.
Gonna finish the sentence with a slightly sarcastic, yes, Ray, it's all about the functional benefits. But no, I mean, look, obviously plenty of brands are copying the functional benefits of Poppi and Olipop, or at least trying to. But, you know, if it were just about that, it would be way easier for those copies to work, or Coke or Pepsi to like launch their own.
Can I pause you there? It's certainly not all about that, but how much of the deal is about the functional benefit versus, again, the branding and execution?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think it's like near zero about that, because I do think that what they have done very successfully, and, you know, obviously Olipop is a key player in that as well, is, you know, they have created a new, better for you, modern brand that I think for a company like PepsiCo, that has a lot of appeal. And, you know, some of the other things that they've acquired, you know, you look at like a Siete Foods, and, you know, some of the products that Siete has are in the wheelhouse of what PepsiCo does, like chips, right? Other products, maybe not so much. Whereas this brand is like 100% in the wheelhouse of what PepsiCo does. It's a carbonated soft drink at the end of the day. And, you know, we've talked about this before, but I think the real power of this is that they have built an exciting brand in a category that has kind of been lacking excitement lately, you know? Like, obviously there's billions of dollars of like CSDs that people are drinking, but again, they're just like, what's an exciting brand in that space otherwise, you know? I mean, Poppi and Olipop are like the two most exciting brands there. So this, as we've talked about before, just seemed like it's inevitable, you know, like PepsiCo and, you know, to some degree Coke or KDP, like they need this, they need these brands. So,
well, that's going to lead to my next question, but another question down the line, but I just want to follow up on that for a sec. So if other strategics are looking at Olipop, I mean, as if you were to advise the company, would you say, look, forget about pushing the functional, and they don't really do that much. And in fact, when I spoke with the founders last year for an episode, they specifically said, look, if the foundation of your brand is tied to the education of it, you're pushing a rock uphill. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily that they are promoting the functional benefits first and foremost, Olipop that is, but they still make it a big part of what they do. If you were advising them, you say, look, just
no, I think, look, I'm not crapping on what they've done with this, to be clear.
And not crapping,
yeah,
just
no,
saying, disagreeing necessarily.
I think it is and has been their reason for being, right? Mm-hmm. And now I guess the point is that both of those brands have been successful and become mainstream enough that they've sort of transcended the need to have that always as part of the conversation. And I think that's a fine thing, you know. And the whole point with what I was saying about Poppi is that I think really the appeal for this brand, and I would put Olipop in the same bucket, is that if a PepsiCo, you know, takes this in, they have a brand that's not limited to just prebiotic products. There probably are other things. I'm sure, you know, there's a roadmap or mm-hmm. whatever somewhere in these companies that might take the brand outside of that. And there'd be nothing lost with either of those like brands to do that. So I think, that's just bigger picture. Like what these brands have done is really successful because, they've done it in a category that historically has been really tough, if not impossible, for emerging brands to make any sort of inroads in.
Mm-hmm.
And both of these brands have essentially opened the door for that. So, I think that, again, is great for everyone, as is, there's a story out there in the Wall Street Journal about a certain Poppi investor that got I think it was 88x return on his
Adam Spriggs from the Angel Group.
On his $105,000 check. I mean, that's sort of like, we've talked about this before too, like the grease for the investing wheels, like that all of a sudden, like, I don't know, what could you have bought that would get you an 88x return? Like, I don't know.
A steak and taste radio.
Shares of NVIDIA, some crypto coins or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
That's a pretty insane return.
Well, making inroads into the CSD category, as you mentioned, John, has historically been extremely difficult for entrepreneurial brands, but
it's been tough for the big guys too,
Sure,
with their
sure.
own line extensions,
Sure. Yeah.
So,
But Poppi has done it and did it really successfully, I think, beginning with a digital first strategy. In fact, when I spoke with Allison and Steven a couple of years ago, they described themselves as a digital first brand. And Allison was one of the first founders to really embrace TikTok and make it a huge part of their marketing strategy. And she has consistently been promoting the brand and being front and center on TikTok. Jackie, how much of an impact do you think that approach, not only having a digital first approach, at least in the first 2-3 years, but also being that front and center founder on a platform like TikTok, how much of that approach do you think had on the end acquisition?
Back to just branding in general, like she is the brand, she is Poppi, and she was the face of the brand and built that. And a lot of people, bought into her story and really resonated with her as like a mom starting a business with her husband, and they wanted to follow along as she grew this business. And I think people got excited as each like win that Poppi got, as they got like a Super Bowl ad, and then they're on like American Idol, and she and her husband are front and center, on court as they're, I think they sponsored one of the NBA teams too. Like they had Poppi gear. They're just everywhere. They're at the Super Bowl. They were everywhere. And she was showing the journey of all these cool things that Poppi allowed them to do.
I think also, and this is related to what Jackie just said, I think, timing and just luck of timing always plays some amount of, some role in a company's success or failure. And I think in this particular case, like the digital marketing side of things, there was unfortunately a big opportunity for Poppi to beat, what Coke or Pepsi were doing, which is during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And, historically, I think a lot of, entries into the CSD category tried to do something unique at retail, which is dominated by Coke and Pepsi. It's really hard to get, I think big signal there. And, I think what Allison did online, certainly like both Poppi and Olipop had really solid like e-commerce businesses during COVID that I would argue was to some extent key for both of those brands in establishing a beachhead that, now has, like, I'm sure both those brands are not shipping percentage-wise nearly as much, percentage-wise of their revenue as they did back then. So I think that's just another sort of unique thing that happened for these brands, for better or worse.
Mm-hmm. And Poppi has consistently been one of the top selling, if not the top selling beverage brand on Amazon for a very long time. The question of whether or not digital marketing and a digital first approach has an impact on the broad opportunity for CSDs, I think is not necessarily the question. I think how much of an impact did it have on bringing new consumers to the category, bringing younger consumers to the category, having them have a CSD of their own, a soda of their own, because nothing really represented Gen Z or to a certain extent younger millennials as much as Poppi did.
I mean, again, it was not cool to drink soda,
right?
And those brands have made it cool to drink soda.
I mean, that's what it. I mean, not to. I'm not giving you props here, but I'm kind of giving you props. I mean, it's such a true statement. You know, people didn't want to drink soda. You had to give them a reason to, and Poppi did. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And again, that's my point with like the functional side of it. I think at this point they've created that, they've earned that. So I think it could diverge from, you know, the current sort of approach to it being a better for you functional brand.
Yeah. For someone who is probably the best in the company at making relationships and creating a reason for people to reach out consistently and highlighting what a company does, Mike, how much of this deal do you think? And we know this because, Rohan Oza has a really great track record in this industry of working with brands and bringing them to humongous exits, $1 billion exits or more. How much do you think this deal had to do with industry connections with a guy like Rohan Oza as it did the brand itself?
The guy from Coke.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Rohan Oza, just for context, for people who don't know, obviously you've seen him on Shark Tank, but he was the CMO, the first CMO of Vitamin Water. He is the founder of Kavu, which is a venture capital firm that has invested in a lot of different brands, including BAI, of which Rohan also made some money. So again, everyone always talks about, okay, the founders built this incredible brand, but so much of it, I think, it's just my opinion, has to do with who you're around and some of the influential people involved.
They say it's not what you know, but who you know for a reason, Ray. I mean, and so the Poppi team did a very good job of staying connected to very influential people. And, you know, they're out running the business, you know, as Jackie spoke so eloquently about, just all of the content that they're creating, being the faces of the brand, focusing on that. And certainly they have people in the background who are, you know, talking about deals, acquisition, all the time. So that's how the rumors get started in the first place. It's not unlike football business, you know, that we talk about a lot, but very important to have people like Rohan Oza in your corner who can make that sort of magic happen. They say that success changes a person, but for Allison Ellsworth, I feel like success just amplified her kindness. Like, we've known her to be, John was talking about copying Poppi earlier. I heard her say at least 10 times, copy us, copy our playbook, because she was giving advice to a founder who came up to her and wanted, you know, just some piece of advice that would help them get to the next level. And she would say, copy us, do this, do that, you know, and we're still in a place right now where 1.5% of investment is going to female-led companies for all kinds of excuses. We hear about them every day on Instagram and on TikTok.
And they are excuses, they're not reasons.
Exactly. Excuses for not investing in a female-led company. And just look at Poppi, $1.65+ billion exit. Company started by a pregnant mom, you know, who led the charge, built this brand, pivoted the company, and overcame ridiculous challenges with her team, and now has gotten us to this journey. It's a long journey. It takes a long time for this kind of thing to happen. And the next $1 billion exits are out there right now. And a lot of them are going to be female-owned brands. Invest in female-owned.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the fact that it was slightly difficult to get to a place where they did surround themselves with the right people. In fact, we talked about that in our interview from a couple of years ago. Well, I'll include the link in the show notes. But, you know, professionalization of Poppi's organizational structure, they described as challenging at first, but ultimately valuable. And they also talked about the decision to hire a CEO, and eventually that CEO stepping aside and Stephen taking that role once again. I mean, they've been through a lot in just a really short amount of time. I mean, if you think about 5 years to build a company like this, it is truly remarkable for a brand that, well, for a company that launched in 2016, but for a brand that was born in 2020. I mean, not a ton of time to scale something as quickly as they did. $500 million in sales last year, the exit this year. So truly amazing stuff. Now, the big question for everyone listening, one down, because everyone's been saying, okay, it's going to be Poppi, it's Olipop, you got Culture Pop, we got all these different better for you soda brands out there. One down, how many more to go? Okay, is Poppi's acquisition, is it going to spur other strategics to open up the checkbooks?
Often does.
Or is the bubble about to pop? on Better For You soda. All right.
I like it, Ray.
Okay, well, John, who really just elbowed me in the ribs about 10 minutes ago about me questioning whether or not a Better For You CSD brand would actually sell in the next 18 months, something he said, to his credit, in January of last year. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I don't think the bubble is going to pop on Better For You sodas. I think that this is perhaps a tipping point instead, where the diet 0-calorie CSD space like goes through a complete, evolution, revolution, whatever you want to call it, where perhaps it is the thing that makes some of these legacy brands finally start seeing, a real, drying up of their revenue as it shifts to other brands, which I think just sort of, plain and simple, it's not like the younger consumers who are into Poppi now are all of a sudden gonna be like, crap, you know what, I really want like a Coke Zero, Diet Coke or something instead. Like, that's like not gonna happen, right? So I think there's an opportunity here for more brands to come in and take share from those legacy brands, if we're just talking about CSDs. Beyond that, I think in terms of like M&A, no, I think we've seen a good sort of bit of, exit M&A activity, and there's no reason to think that this is going to stop it. So I think, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. What category the next acquisition's in too. Is it another brand in this category? Is it something else? We'll see.
Can I play devil's advocate though? Over the past, say, 15 years, how many of these beverage acquisitions by strategics have really panned out?
That's always sort of a complicated thing. And
why was that the most diplomatic answer?
Well, I mean, look, I feel like this is another thing we've touched on a fair amount and comes up in conversation, which is like, they buy these brands and then they go away. Why do they keep doing that? And, look, I think some of the brands that manage to get to these numbers are brands that are in a category that maybe is going to, pop, or whatever their thing isn't really like a defensible kind of place. And again, I think for the reasons we talked about before, I feel like this one in the soda category is just different. Again, it's like totally in the wheelhouse of the company buying it. So, other stuff that gets acquired that might be like trending, or seeming like a category that they should get behind, and then it proves to not be, or whatever it might be. I think that's just like a cost of doing business for these big brands. Like, they buy it for $1 billion and maybe they get 10 years out of it that, cumulatively is like $5 billion. That was still worth it, So
I wonder. I mean, certain brands, I won't mention any, I don't think they'll ever hit 5 billion in sales. I was talking about this with someone the other day, and they're like, what brand can you think of that has really panned out and worked for a strategic? And I think Smart Water, certainly.
Well, yeah, that's a great example too. I mean, vitamin water is obviously like still out there, but it's not it's, I guess, no offense to, anyone who works on it, but it feels a little bit like a zombie brand of sorts.
Right.
Like, you don't kind of know what it stands for. It's just out there and it's like a staple, right? Mm-hmm. But Smart Water was like the thing that really had, legs to it of the vitamin water acquisition. And at the time, I think it was sort of like, oh, we get that too,
Yeah.
So that's fine. I mean, I'm sure they got their ROI on that.
I think the lesson for entrepreneurs and perhaps strategics is, if you find a brand that has a similar sounding name to yours, perhaps it's a good marriage. Pepsi, Poppi,
Oh, jeez.
Popsy.
Terrible advice.
Look, I got
they only acquire brands that start with the letter P.
You've got MB Ray over here.
Look. Let's be that wasn't an accident. When they named the brand Poppi, I don't think it was an accident that it sounded kind of similar to Pepsi. There was a little bit of a point of reference there, and hey, it could fit easily into the Pepsi portfolio.
They knew their
Why
goal.
not?
They're like, we're going for them.
Look, Paul Vogue, the founder or the co-founder of Ouroboros, mentioned this too. I asked him, where'd you come up with the name? And he goes, well, we were trying to think of something that was catchy and kind of sounded like Coca-Cola. And you know what? It was kind of catchy. Ouroboros, Coca-Cola.
Olipop sounds just like Coca-Cola.
Well, we just anyway. No, obviously,
What sounds like KDP, right?
there's some
Culture pop.
There's mostly jest, but some truth there. Okay. Well, congratulations once again to Poppi. Congratulations to their entire team. I can't wait to get back on the horn with Stephen and Allison, and would love to sit down with them for an interview to talk about this incredible ride that they've been on. So we gotta.
You were in their video.
I was in the video.
That was really kind of them.
Yeah, it was. Mike, you mentioned female-led, female-owned, female-founded brands.
Yeah,
I've got one in my hand. Women-owned, correct. Pop in Bottle. Love this brand. It's a maker of almond milk lattes. They just introduced a new organic strawberry matcha almond milk latte. It's described as plant-powered, no refined sugar. It is USDA organic. Can't speak this morning. And it comes in this 32-ounce bottle.
I mean, imagine your very, very first day at BevNet, and one of the first people from the industry that you meet is Josh Can, founder of Pop and Bottle. I mean, that's a pretty high bar.
I thought the first person you met was Kenny Sadowski.
He was one of the first people I met, but in terms of founders, yes.
Okay, all right. You want to try some of this?
I do.
I'll take some. I tried this at Expo. It's quite tasty.
I didn't get to try this at Expo. I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't see these folks at Expo. Oh! Did you see that? I poured it over the laptop.
I looked away.
And John
looked away.
Oh no! Oh, this is so good. So I had the pleasure of trying this with one of our other dear friends, Jessica Pratt, also at Pop and Bottle, and this stuff tastes so much like my childhood. Strawberry Nesquik. So good.
I love the packaging because when you go to like a cafe or a coffee shop, like that's what you expect. You expect like the strawberry milk on top that's like fading into the matcha.
Yeah, what Jackie is describing is that you've got this pink hue at the top and the neck of the bottle, and then it sort of fades into this light green on the bottom. It's beautiful.
It's really tasty stuff.
One of my favorite parts of this is that it appears that there's no added refined sugar. There's coconut nectar, which I believe is the only sweetener in here. But there's no sugar, stevia, erythritol, monk fruit, what have you. It's just a beautiful, delicious tasting product. Absolutely well done to Pop and Bottle. If any acquirers are thinking about buying Pop and Bottle, might be a good idea.
Oh.
Starts with a P.
Hmm? Oh, KDP, yeah. KD Pop and Bottle.
Pop and Bottle.
Yeah, geez, I didn't... Pop. Well, I wonder why they named the company Pop and Bottle, actually. Do we know that? Do we know why?
Not off the top of our heads.
Good trivia question.
Pop and Bottle, folks, please send us an email to ask@tasteradio.com or reach out to us on the socials and let us know.
DM us.
Yeah, DM us. DM us about your DNS product.
DNS product.
All right. Okay, you got...
Is it time?
What the hell?
What's that?
This
is that the Miami tasting?
This is one of Mike's favorite brands. This is Gorilla.
So, I don't know. Somehow I've become known as like a Gorilla guy.
Gorilla, a maker of
cannabis products, Delta 9 cannabis products.
Of various types.
Of various types. Gummies. They've got some vapes. They've got, and they've got this iconic Gorilla logo too that I think is really stunning. They're getting some traction in on-premise as a spirits alternative, particularly in Miami right now. And I had a conversation with Karan and Carla. And
who are the founders?
Well, Karan is the founder. Carla is the VP of marketing. And I was talking to them about, just the product. And I realized I hadn't tasted the elixir yet. So they gave me some tasting tips, said I should try it in sparkling water. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to have a little taste.
Okay, so this is their lemonade variety.
This is the lemonade variety.
It has the Gorilla logo on the top of the bottle. It's a what do they call that? What kind of bottle is this?
750 mil.
750 mil. They also have
frosted.
I'm like, what are you looking for here?
Frosted bottle.
They're totally
a glass
leaning
bottle,
in,
right?
They're totally leaning into this as a spirit, and they've got like cool sleeves for it.
It looks like a spirit.
Yeah.
It comes in this 750 milliliter frosted glass bottle. It's got a flat shoulder to a longer
premium
neck.
looking. How about
It's premium.
that?
It does look like a spirit. The word elixir is vertical on the top, and I'm sorry, the front of the package here, and THC infused is very clear. So I don't think you would confuse this. I
Yeah.
hope you wouldn't confuse this with an alcohol brand.
How much THC is in a serving of, like, is it like a shot?
2.5.
2.5 milligrams of
Milligrams.
THC, where I think their previous formulation was 5. So now they're down to 2.5. And I can see why they're getting signal in on-premise because this tastes like a lemon drop. I like it. Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
It's cool because you could, like, have a couple cocktails and just build your high with
Yeah.
2.5.
Well, it says, it's funny you say that, Jackie, because above the supplements facts panel, it says 2.5 milligrams of THC in a 1.5 ounce shot. But then it lets you know that the entire bottle contains 42 milligrams of THC. So if you were to just
Don't
pound this,
Don't drink the whole thing.
yeah,
kids.
although we've seen shots that contain like 50 milligrams of THC.
Oh my
so-
God, that'd be me
That's
at the Rose
insane.
Cafe. Yep,
Oh. If I had a nickel.
I know. But for every time we've talked about that, but yeah, this is super tasty. I would definitely try some of these other ones. So thanks for encouraging me to try.
Well done. All right, John, what do you got?
I guess we're sticking with the Delta 9 thing here. I got this new
All right.
product
Oh,
from Breeze.
yes.
BREZ, which is a maker of cannabis
Don't-
infused product.
Yeah, I was like, is this a Jeopardy question here?
Not everyone knows Breeze.
So this is basically like a drink enhancer. So it's got 2.5 milligrams of THC per 25 milliliters. So you like mix it with your favorite drink. It says, haven't tried it yet, but it's Ray, what kind of glass bottle would you call this?
This is a fully wrapped squat-ish 750 milliliter bottle.
Looks rather
There you go.
apothecarian.
Yeah, it looks rather apothecarian. Kind of looks like just a glass bottle version of the Breeze can, like
Yeah.
literal translation
with
there.
a wooden cap closure.
Yeah,
It's
and a
got-
little plastic around there
a
to
matte
hold
plastic.
obscure. But anyway,
A beautiful breeze sort
it's
of.
I
you
think
got to
that-
give context.
I assume this is like an e-commerce sort of thing that they're doing, but it's pretty cool looking. So
Yeah.
excited to give that a try. Just wanted to mention it.
Okay. Oh, you're not going to have any right now. Did you see Mike was chomping at the bit? He's
Yeah.
leaning over the table trying to get some of this action, no?
I'm okay with my gorilla for now.
Mike's like, I'm going to skip lunch. I'm just going to take a nap this afternoon. So,
I need to hang out with you, Ray.
okay. All right. Jackie, what do you got?
I got some tasty Thai roasted chili jams. This is by Pink Salt, so that's the name of the brand. And this is their
Oh, cool. Yeah, they sent us some too.
Yeah, I haven't tried them yet, but I'm excited to cook with them. This is their Nam Prik Pao, and they
Yes.
have a hot and then a Thai hot. So I'm guessing very spicy, as Thai food can be very spicy. And then they have a vegan version and then a non-vegan version because it has like fish sauce in it. Very clean ingredients. Yeah, I'm excited to try it. It looks really, really good. I would say like my only suggestion is maybe make the brand name a little bit bigger because on the front, I thought the brand name was Non Prig Pow, but that's the type of sauce that this is.
I mean, I kind of think that having the sauce type be the hero is a good thing. I just wonder if, it's certainly there are people that are going to know what Nam Prig Pow is, but not everybody. So, yeah, we should just have a chat with them, Jackie.
yeah, we should.
We
Yeah.
did have a chat with them. We did have a chat with the
Wait, was it on?
with the founder.
Was it on?
Palitas Ritana, yes, on Elevator
Talk.
Yes, it's on
TasteRadio.com
Elevator
/
Talk.
Elevator
Yeah.
Talk.
So Preeta actually started the company during the pandemic, and it was Pink Salt began as a series of pop-ups, and she eventually came out with this consumer brand, and it is really exciting stuff. And actually, a couple of the comments you guys just made also popped up in the conversation that we had with
Interesting.
Palita.
Well,
So-
Jackie, be sure to follow up and let us know what you think of that because
Yeah.
I was super intrigued by that one as well.
Yeah, I will. I'll use it tonight.
Little tofu action, maybe, or
Yeah. Little shrimp.
yeah, that sounds even better. I've got some of the latest from Like Air.
Give me some of those.
Oh
tasty.
my God!
These
Like
rule.
Air, Like Air might be
This is really good
the
stuff.
best new snack brand that I've seen in a
Oh
while.
my God. You guys, this is their best flavor.
Is that the
Green
Green
Goddess.
Goddess one?
Yeah.
It's epic.
That's
Isn't it
pretty
so
good.
good.
So Like Air is a maker of puff corn. Instead of popcorn, these are corn puffs that contain a variety. They have a variety of flavors for them. It's described as better than popcorn. They're Green Goddess variety. Comes in these little small bags. They have larger bags as well, I believe. This is 80 calories per bag, non-GMO, no artificial ingredients. It's gluten-free. My mouth is watering because I haven't tried this yet.
So good.
These are so good. This is like one of my favorite snacks.
Yeah, like Air, they come out with these they come out with these limited edition flavors in the vein of or a la Jones Soda. So they had like a Thanksgiving one last year.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, they have like a peppermint cane or one. I think they had a birthday cake. Maybe I'm making that up. But if they're listening to this now, maybe you can create like a birthday cake flavored one.
God.
It's all so good, and it's so easy to eat. You can finish this bag like in 2 minutes, and it's only 80 calories. Outstanding stuff. Love Like Air.